Hey guys, Jared, your Fat Sherpa here to guide you up to the peak of enlightenment on how you can still enjoy some of these without completely looking like one of these. I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts about alcohol and your overall health, the direct and indirect effects on your performance, recovery, and body composition, as well as how you can fit alcohol into a diet plan and still make progress. So is alcohol good or bad for us? We know that being a full-blown alcoholic probably isn't good, but from a health perspective, we don't really know if alcohol is actually good for us. In light to moderate drinkers, there's actually an association between lower risks of diabetes, heart disease, and in some cases, even certain types of strokes. And just so we're clear what light to moderate drinking looks like, for women, that's 7 drinks per week with no more than 3 drinks on any given day. For men, it's 14 throughout the week and no more than 4 in a single day. And standard drinks are classified as 12 ounces of 5% beer, 5 ounces of 12% wine, or 1.5 ounces of 40% spirits. So most of the research done on alcohol's potential health benefits are from large, long-term epidemiological studies which don't actually prove anything. So rather than a tightly controlled test group where they can definitively say within the context of that study that delicious craft beer definitely bulletproofs your heart, they're more saying there seems to be an association with positive health benefits. So you have to consider, is it alcohol itself that is contributing to these health benefits, or is there something about the lifestyles of individuals who partake in light to moderate drinking that is causing these benefits? Maybe it's, lower stress, or maybe there's something to do with social networks that they develop. That's all I'm going to say about it from the health side of things, but if you are choosing to drink, make sure you're doing it because you genuinely enjoy it and it's providing value to your life in some sort of way. You're not using it as a crutch to cover something up.
I love alcohol.
Okay, so on to performance, recovery, and body composition. From the performance side of things, muscle growth can be blunted. Muscle loss can be increased during a caloric deficit. Alcohol can dehydrate you significantly, and because it's kind of a poison in our bodies, I can tell you from personal experience that if you're in a really hard training block, or you've had a really hard race or a multi-event competition, that is not the night to really tie one on if you have any hope of muscle recovery or being a functional human being the next day. While alcohol is in your bloodstream, our bodies tend to burn it as fuel first before it goes back to burning carbs and fats for energy. You're not likely going to see alcohol itself stored as fat, but depending if you're in a deficit or maintenance or muscle building phase, you can definitely increase your chances of storing additional fat more so than you would if you were just overeating. And at the very least, while alcohol is in your system, it really shuts down any sort of fat burning. This is important to keep in mind because even if you've perfectly planned out your calories for the day and have accounted for the precise number of drinks that you can have, alcohol does this really fun thing where it lowers your inhibitions, and depending on the person, like myself, you might be dramatically more inclined to convince your Uber driver to stop for some tasty treats that are likely very, very high calories that are probably just going to end up being stored as fat. And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, alcohol is one of the single best disruptors to sleep that we know of. And there's way too much about sleep to unpack in this video. Just know that it is really important for fitness and body composition. It's important to keep in mind that all of this is dose dependent, and there's kind of a spectrum of effects. And it's probably more about making some trade-offs and figuring out where your priorities lie. This might mean saying yes to late night beers at a concert, might mean skipping your early morning workout the next day. Or if you've got some body composition goals, rather than saying absolutely no alcohol, it might just mean dialing things back a little bit. If you're tracking macros or want to track macros, we all know that protein and carbs are 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram, and alcohol is up there with 7 calories per gram. In order to track your favorite adult beverage, we're gonna wanna look at the total calories for the whole drink and track it it as either carbs, fat, or a combination of both. You can look all of these up in MyFitnessPal, but just something to be aware of is I've seen a lot of companies advertising things like only 2 grams of carbs per bottle. Doesn't really matter because we're really after the total calories. There's a lot of 100-calorie seltzer beverages out there, so I'll use that as an example because the math is nice and easy. If you wanted to track it as carbs, you divide 100 by 4, so you would track it as 25 grams of carbs. If you wanted to track it as fat, you would divide by 9, and it works out to approximately 11 grams. If you wanted to track it as a combination of both, you could do a 65-45 split, which would work out to 16 grams of carbs and 5 grams of fat, approximately. Personally, I find it easier to just track it as one or the other depending on how I've eaten the rest of the day. So that's all you really need to know about tracking, but what about alcohol selection to better fit your diet? Because remember, calories can add up really, really quickly, especially if they're really high in sugar or fat in some sort of slushy or blended beverage. A great option is going to be some sort of hard liquor with some sparkling water or maybe a diet soda. I'm a big beer guy, so it's important to consider the range of options that are available nowadays with all the craft beers. If you compare this light beer to this 8.5% Godly Nectar, this light beer only has 120 calories, so that would get tracked as 30 grams of carbs. On the other hand, this is a bigger can, so there's more volume. This works out to about 340 calories and would be tracked as 85 grams of carbs, which is almost triple this other beer. Now, one of these beers is definitely better than the other ones, but remember, it's about trade-offs and balancing your goals at that time. And if you need to do a quick estimation on beer calories, you can do 2.5 times the alcohol by volume times the number of ounces, and that'll give you the total calories in that beer. And finally, for wine, if you're looking for a better option, things on the drier side that don't have as many residual sugars are probably going to be a little bit better of an option. Now, you're allowed to drink anything you want and enjoy. I just give these as better options because they tend to be a little bit lower in calories, but because all of these can become problematic with enough volume, let's talk about where that line is. In general, if you've got some specific performance or body composition goals, less alcohol is probably going to be better, more alcohol is probably going to be worse. As a starting point, just try to dial things back a little bit from where you're currently at and see how things go. If you want to put a number on it, I've seen recommendations of no more than 20% of your daily calories going towards alcohol. That's why I talk about better options if you want to enjoy some alcoholic beverages, because the calories add up really quick, and for some people with their daily calorie allotment, it doesn't allow for very much. But we can also bring it back to that definition of moderate drinking. So if you can keep things under kind of that 3 to 4 drinks on any given day and maybe limit that to 1 or 2 days per week, you're probably setting yourself up pretty well. And I get it. There's going to be special occasions like birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, whatever. But as long as you're not going completely off the rails every single week, there's probably room to fit a few of your favorite bevies in and still make some pretty decent progress. That's all I've got for today. If you have any questions or need help setting up a plan to reach your goals, feel free to comment down below. You can reach out to me directly through DM or Messenger. You can also get in touch with me at jhudson.nutrition@gmail.com. If you liked the video, make sure to show it some love with one of these. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.